It's about branding today. So we're going to be just going over like the basics of branding. I don't know if any of you guys are making your portfolios right now or anything, but it's just about like if you need to redesign your website, or maybe you have a client that wants to work within their branding, or they need a rebrand, or you need to get on top of it and make yourself more like recognizable. I have some tips on that too. Okay. Should we get started?
Let's get started.
Okay. Let's see. Can you guys see this? Okay. I need to move the Zoom thing. Hold on. All right. So hi, welcome to SUP. I'm Priscilla, and we're going to be talking about the branding of you. So this is mostly geared towards like personal branding, but all of these concepts I'm going to be talking about apply to client side as well. So if you are interested in doing like short form digital media ad stuff and you need a client who's trying to get you to match their look, this would be helpful there too. So a little bit about me. I'm a senior at SU and I'm majoring in the photo program with Newhouse and then marketing and management in the Whitman School of Management. So all of my experience and background comes with digital marketing, social media marketing, branding, etc. So today we're going to be talking about 3 basic elements that will carry you all the way through what you need to know for branding. So that's color, shape, and typeface. Typeface is also known as font, but the correct verbiage is typeface because that refers to like the actual look. Font refers to more of the weight, so like how thick and thin something is. So let's start off with color. I would recommend in any given context to use 1 to 2 base colors and an accent color. So don't do more than that or else it's going to get really messy. If you've seen like 2000s internet aesthetic with Comic Sans and like every color on the rainbow, it just gets really messy and unrecognizable. So let's start off with a little bit of an activity. I have 3 sets of 3 colors, and I want you all to try and guess what brand is built off of these 3 colors. So the first set, does anyone need a hint to get started? Okay. As post-production or production people and VFXers, we should all know this company. We talk about them a lot. They have these things called originals. Anyone guess who it is?
Netflix?
Yeah, it's Netflix.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you got it right. So it's Netflix, and anything you see from their like UI design to their website design is going to have black, white, and red. So red is usually their accent color, black and white for that like sophisticated box office look. What about the second one? Do we need a hint for all of them?
Mike is right too. I think Adobe is also.
I was going to say Adobe. Also, I think YouTube would apply.
Yes. Yeah, black, white, red is really like popular because it's like a professional. Sorry, I wasn't seeing the chat. You guys are on my second monitor, so you're like over here. Okay. But yeah, Adobe would totally work. Acrobat? For sure. Anyone have any guesses for the second set?
Is it a person, place, or thing? Give us a genre.
It's a business. Most commonly associated with the place.
IKEA?
Oh my gosh, Jack! You're right. It's IKEA. Oh, I clicked off the presentation. Okay. Yeah, so it is IKEA, and you can actually see like they completely use that color scheme for all of their like in-house brand products. Not so much their furniture, because I don't think anyone would buy blue, yellow, and white furniture, but that's how they do their branding. Okay, what's the third one now? We should all know this. If you know Shayna, you should know what company or brand or something this is.
Only Jack would know.
It's up to you, Jack. What is this?
Or Jackson.
Jackson, do you know?
I don't know.
You're just saying it.
Could it be Flying Turtle Toast?
It is Flying Turtle Post. So if you look at Flying Turtle, everything's dark green, white, and then light green. You see that in the bio, the wordage, the banner at the top, the buttons. So really 3 good examples of 3 brands that have really consistent color schemes. So another thing you really want to be, first of all, good job, everyone. I don't know how you got IKEA, Jack. Like, honestly, that was such a good one.
As soon as you told me it's associated with the place, it came to mind. I don't know if I would have gotten
I was
it.
gonna say you're probably like shopping right now.
Not shopping. Also, why would you shop online at IKEA?
That's true. You have to go.
Go.
You have to go. I wish there was an IKEA in Syracuse. We have the room for it.
There's one near my apartment. I haven't been there yet, though.
I was like 2 seconds away from saying Ithaca, and I was like, that's not what you're going for. But those are the same colors.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it's red, white, and or white, gold, and blue.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So, as we saw with the examples before, like color, they were all like pretty iconic colors, then you can like read everything. So when you're picking your colors, make sure whatever you choose is like legible, and also think about like visual accessibility. So red on green, I don't know if anyone here is colorblind. Does it look like crap? Can you read it? Is anyone here colorblind? Yeah, but it would probably look like crap. And even to my normal non-colorblind eyes, it looks bad. The second one is really hard to read. Imagine reading like an essay on this contrast level, like you would probably just give it an F and say goodbye. And then the third one is, can you guys even see that? So let's not do things like that. And this is an example of a real website from someone. They use that lime green on white for like all of their headings, and it just gets really like dizzy and crazy. It's like a 90s retro aesthetic they're going for, but also think about like the eye strain that comes with just looking at a screen all the time. Any questions on color before we move on to shape? Okay, cool. We'll move on to shape. And if you've ever taken an animation class, you know, like shapes have different personalities. So like the sharp pointy character is the smart one, and the square character is kind of like the doofy, like weird, dumb person or guy or girl. And then the round character is like the soft and friendly and cuddly character. So even when you're thinking about generally like not just shapes, not only shapes, but the way that you do your buttons, are they sharp? Are they round? Are they circles or like oval, like rounded rectangles? That all speaks to kind of like your vibe and the character that you're putting forward in your brand. So if we take a look at IKEA, you see that their logo is very angular and sharp, but has a little bit of a roundness to it. So when you look at their furniture, obviously furniture is very angular and sharp. Their website also reflects that kind of clean but sophisticated look. So obviously furniture is very angular. And if you look at some of their like set shoots, you can see it's very like isometric, angular, organized, but has a little bit of a modern feel to it. So think about how that is conveyed. Another brand, you may or may not know it, it's called Gia. They're an alcohol alternative. And you can see in that little Gia sticker, it has that triangular roundness of a martini glass. And so the motif or shape that they always play on is the martini glass's iconic triangular shape. So every photo, every sticker, you will see that martini glass. They also have a really rounded feel to feel more inviting, because their whole thing is about like, you don't have to feel pressured to drink in a social situation. You can have an alcohol alternative. And then on their gift card, you see that same martini glass, the same round motif, and their bitters bottle. Any questions on shape? Comments, concerns? What's your favorite shape? Rhombus, dodecahedron, ellipse. But yeah, I would honestly say things like the dodecahedron, it's not a shape you see commonly. So if you're trying to communicate more of a unique personality, that would be a good shape to include. And we'll get to that. But let's touch on typeface. So every single different font has a different feeling. I would say pick 2 from different families. So serif fonts are the traditional newspaper-like fonts. They're easier to read when you print. So for online, I would actually recommend sans serifs, which don't have the little tops and tails on them. They're easier to read when you're online. And then there's display fonts. The second one's broken for some reason, but at least you can read it. The original one, you can't read it. So they're more like scripty stuff. I would say that Comic Sans and Papyrus kind of fall into the display font category, and we know how immature and disgusting they look. So I would say avoid display fonts unless it's like a word mark, which we'll also get into quickly. If you're not a fan of mixing two different typefaces, I would say pick different weights from the same family. So I'm a huge fan of the Avenir Sans Serif family, and I use the heavy book and light. And remember, like, just humans as we are tend to pay attention to things that are bigger and bolder, and then pay less attention to things that are smaller and lighter. So that also applies in your typography. Things that are titles that are important to you, they should be in a bigger or heavier font. Things that are not so important, like click here button, should be in a lighter, smaller font. And then obviously this applies when you're thinking about your word mark. So a word mark is just a logo that is made completely out of type or text. And we see these all the time and they're iconic. If you saw the Google with just the colors and the way it looks, you know it's Google. So in the same way, think about how you can brand yourself to have a word mark, and it can be as simple or as creative as you want it to be. So mine is really simple. I just connected the I to the K. For Chris Bennett, who is also a SUP member, you can do that CB, and he's an animator, so he wants to show off that more fun personality. And for me, I'm more management style, so it shows that I'm very like clean, connected, and like consistent. So think about how you're communicating yourself in your word mark. We'll move on to how do you know if what you chose works? So does it work? I think a good way to check if something you came up with works is to make a mood board. So for example, take your inspiration, take the typefaces that you're choosing, and then take the colors that you're choosing and make sure they're all meshing with each other. So if I was drawing inspiration from Glossier, which is a makeup company, they do like millennial baby pink with really chunky text. I would say, okay, let's do Avenir, which is chunky black text, which I like if I like the Glossier aesthetic. I like their baby pink, so I'm going to choose something that's similar. But if I don't want to be too feminine, I'm going to mix in some blues and some teals in there. And if you take a step back and look at it, you should see that the pink blues that I chose work well with the Glossier aesthetic, work well with the text that I chose. So that's just one way you can see like cohesion. If you take a step back and it looks bad, then it's bad. You just have to start over or change something. And also, the hardest thing about branding, but the most crucial part, is that it's consistent. So if you make a really cool brand, but you only use it on your website or you only use it on your Instagram, it's not going to really be a brand. It's just going to be an aesthetic. So the point of a brand is to be consistent. This is my website. It's unfortunately all black and white. I need to put in another color, but this is my website, and then this is my resume. So you can see that the line motifs that I have, the connected stuff I have, it follows through on my resume. I have the same typeface everywhere. And that needs to be reiterated on like every platform you are presenting that same like personality to. And then let's put it all together. So the recording can stop now. We're going to do an interactive activity to kind of train our muscles and see like if you guys have been paying attention to what I've been saying for the last like 20 minutes.